Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. I am not going to say individual hellos. I want to bring Melissa right up. I'm excited for this. If you guys missed part one, we started on Melissa's last night. We are going back through the case against Casey Anthony from start to finish, including the things that led up to her trial, the things that led up to her arrest and her trial, and all the way through the evidence. Hey, Melissa.
Hello.
Dude, I really could have just kept watching that last night. It was so interesting, but I didn't.
It's really interesting. And like we said, I know the basics. I followed it a lot years ago, but it's almost like learning it again all over for the first time. You're in a different place, like we grow, we learn. And I forgot so much of it. So I'm so excited to go over it all.
Me too. Yeah, so I had said this over there, but just in case somebody missed it, I don't know the case like Melissa or many of you guys. I only know like what you see on the news or whatever, like little clips of stuff.
Right.
And it's so different. People, I think if you've never like done a deep dive on a case and the actual trial and the evidence, you don't realize how much you're missing by just watching the news. But there's a lot,
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much. And like I said, even though I did go over this trial, like not on my channel, like watching it, and I remember a decent amount, but not that much, but it doesn't matter because I feel like I'm a different person now and I've learned so much. So going back over it, especially as a creator now, while covering active cases, I feel like it's going to help point out things because I believe she is guilty. And so I think it's a real learning opportunity to be able to go over this and figure out, all right, what happened along the way? How did she manage to get off, and just educate ourselves on more of the court process, because it's not always as black and white as we may assume it would be going into trial.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a warning for what could happen in other cases and stuff,
Yep.
While we're approaching Koberger's trial and stuff like that. Girls, Nana, thank you for being a member for 16 months. Thank you for covering this case. Thank you for being here. And then Tara says, watching it again with a little true crime and case experience gives it a whole new perspective on it for me.
Yep.
Interesting.
Agreed.
I don't think that I've seen any more, but I'll check while we're going to get started. Let me go ahead and pull it up and I'll just take a look over there and see if there's anything new on her TikTok or on her Substack, because I subscribed. So if there is anything new, we'll talk about that too. Oh yeah, you guys, that's another thing that Melissa and I decided, like as things come out, whether it's on her TikTok or whatever, we will talk about it during these lives.
Absolutely.
So, which is exciting too.
I think it is exciting because we said we were going to do this a week before she decided to randomly come out and start utilizing social media. And so I think that's awesome that it happens to be paralleling one another. And so it's the perfect time to educate ourselves and remind everyone maybe who doesn't know what evidence was presented against Casey. And that should be in the forefront, and justice for Kaylee, not her legal advocacy, so to speak, which I don't even know if she's legally allowed to do.
Yeah, it's so crazy that we did decide, talk about doing this before she even came on.
Yep.
Okay, so let me show you guys just quickly before we get into it. She has not posted any more videos, but she has 72,000 followers, but only 50,000 likes. Now, that is so rare because on my TikTok, I probably have 20-some thousand followers and like 500,000 likes or something. Usually people, I don't know, it's just it's an odd way to see that. Usually the creators have way more likes because you don't always subscribe immediately. Sometimes you might wait. These people aren't liking it. They're just keeping up, I think, with what she's up to. What do you think, Melissa? Let me see, and I'll tell you, I'll give you my ratio. Let me go back and then go to mine.
I think everyone is eager to follow because you want to know what's going on, but not support, which sucks because supporting kind of goes hand in hand with following, whether you need to or not.
Yeah, it does.
That kind of would make sense to me.
Yeah, well, I was torn on that actually. I kind of was like, should I or not, especially with the Substack. But then I thought if I do it and I let people know, maybe their curiosity will be, they won't have to do it themselves. They
Right,
can listen
exactly.
through here. So look at mine, 29.5 thousand followers and 562,000 likes. And that's way more like what it's normal, because you might have a video that goes super viral or gets a lot of attention and it gets a lot of likes, but those people don't subscribe. It takes, I don't know, it's just a weird ratio of likes and followers for TikTok. That's abnormal, I think. But okay, so last night we started with this, and we're going to jump back into that after we get through this interview at Universal.
Hey,
Yeah?
real quick, Allie, I saw Scott ask if we could pull up Sunshine, and I have it up if you really just quickly want to share my screen before we do this, because it is actually pretty. So this is it says family of boy 3 who died after being dumped at New York City hospital begs mom to turn herself in. The grief-stricken family of a 3-year-old boy who died after being dumped at a Brooklyn hospital over the weekend claims the tragic toddler's mom is in danger as they begged her to turn herself in amid a widespread manhunt. Young Royal Foster was identified by loved ones as the toddler pronounced dead shortly after his mother, Sunshine Davis, 24, and her 38-year-old boyfriend allegedly abandoned him at University Hospital downstate on Saturday morning. So if this is him, which, heartbreaking.
Oh my gosh.
But I wanted to just grab her photo, just if you happen to be in the area.
Oh yeah.
This is Sunshine.
Wow.
Which, just kind of be on the lookout. And so they're pleading for her to turn herself in. They don't have a photo I see of her boyfriend, but this is her. So just keep your eye out, and thank you, Scott, for letting us know.
Oh my God. How damn dare you?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Well, thank you, Scott, and thank you, Melissa, for I didn't see his comment and for pulling it up.
Yeah.
He says she left that baby on the concrete sidewalk covered in bruise. Oh my God. And his eyes swollen shut.
Oh, baby.
Okay. So where we left off yesterday, this detective is not buying any of what she's selling. He's letting her know immediately, right off. He's not doing this good cop thing at all. We don't believe you. You are lying. Your story makes no sense. Where is your daughter? Type of thing. Because some cops, and I think what we'll see next will be a little different. But any thoughts you have before we get started? And where am I? I go right at 33 minutes, right?
Yeah, so it was, and I just dropped the link to that article for anyone who was interested. So, it was 33 minutes and 20 seconds. So you're perfect where you're at, because I would jump back a minute anyway. Where we last left off is pretty much yesterday, detectives took the forefront and they did a lot of talking. And they were basically like, hey, you just took us on this chase. You brought us to Universal. You don't work at Universal. You had us going to these apartments and calling all of these people, and they just made the transition into every single thing you have told us has been a lie. So tell me now, start from the beginning, what happened with Kaylee? And that's where we're picking up right now. It's kind of like that perfect transitioning point.
Yep. And then poor Linda asked, how does TikTok compensate? So I'm not in the monetization program anymore. I could be. I just haven't put in the effort to figure it all out because they've changed it slightly. But I believe they pay based on views. And before it was different. They had a creator fund. You didn't make much, even if your video got 1 million views. Now things have changed and they're paying a lot more, I hear, but I don't know exactly. I just think it's based on views, but that's all I know. So, yeah. Okay. Are you ready, Melissa?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
Going to help you out extremely by telling us the truth, or we find Kaylee not alive, which if you start telling us the truth might still paint you in a better picture. But here's where it needs to end. Here's where the truth needs to come out, okay? No more lies, no more bull coming out of your mouth. We've been very respectful. We're taking our time and talking to you, but we're tired of the lies. No more lies. What happened to Kaylee?
I don't know.
You do know. What happened to Kaylee?
I don't know where she is. That is the God's honest truth.
Where was she the last time that you put her somewhere? Where was she?
The last time I saw her was on those steps at that apartment that I took you to this morning. The same apartment that I took the other officers to last night.
But you didn't give her to anyone. You didn't give her to anyone while you were there. See, no, listen to me. We're even pulling surveillance video from an apartment complex, and they have to keep this by law for several days, okay? And we're not seeing you over there. We're not seeing you there at all that day. Do you think that we're stupid and we're not going to do all this stuff? Okay, we're not seeing you there. So now, if you're not there and you're not being seen there, and somebody's already saying that you're not there, and everything else you've told us is a lie, that's telling me. Remember we had those two people that we were talking about, the person who had an accident or made a bad decision, and a person who's just a cold-blooded, callous monster? That's telling me that you are the second person, this cold-blooded, callous monster who doesn't care and doesn't want to help because she's afraid that something so heinous happened that everyone's going to look at her and say, she's a monster, she deserves to go away, she deserves to never see the light of day, this bad thing should happen to her. I don't want to believe that right now, but you're giving me no choice. You understand? You're giving me no choice. This is going to be the opportunity that you have right now. No matter how heinous you think that what happened was to Kaylee, this is your opportunity to tell us. This is going to be your only opportunity to tell us.
Right, let her talk.
Because we're going to find out. There's not going to be a question. We're going to find out. Okay? We've got so many resources on this right now, just like I told you would happen, that what we're trying to do is prove your story, but everything that we've done is disproving your story. Every single thing. Everything you've told us, we've shown you have lied about it. Casey has lied about it, and we're looking for your child. We got to throw these lies out, okay? All these lies are out. We know that everything you told us is a lie. Tell us what happened to Kaylee. Tell us what happened to Kaylee.
I dropped off Kaylee. And that's the last time that I've seen her. I dropped her
Where did you drop her off?
Okay, hold up. Melissa, all right, I got to ask you about her tone. But I just want to say, I wish he would, I understand he's trying to get his point across. I appreciate what he's saying, but I wish he would let her talk more. Yeah. But her tone is so freaking bored. She's just like, what do you think about her tone?
It's her, in my opinion, trying to control a situation that is becoming out of her control. And honestly, I think it's smarter than blabbering, because we have people like Letitia, right, where you'll try to, all right, desperately grab control and let me overload you with information, and you're not thinking about what you're saying. Then we have people like Gypsy who, okay, I'm timid, So if anything, I don't think that this is a bad tactic, even though I don't want to suggest what to do, versus I think what she's doing is, let me keep my composure calm and keep it as little as possible and very direct. But you can tell, once again, there's no emotion there. Why are the detectives more emotional than she is regarding her missing child?
Yeah, it's like she's just, like, she is so uninterested. She has, like, even if she, I don't know, I would just expect her to at least put on some emotion. Right. Act like you care, act like you're worried, act like, especially since, your story is you talked to your daughter today, everything's been fine, but all of a sudden, when you wanted to talk to an adult, she hung up on you.
Yeah.
So aren't you scared?
She should be, but she seemed fine. She was happy. She wasn't upset at all. So
yeah. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Dropped her off at that apartment.
No, you didn't.
That's exactly where I dropped her off.
And who'd you drop her off to?
With Zenaida.
No, you didn't.
She's the last person.
No, that's not true.
Did Zenaida give you any money that day?
No. I would not have sold my daughter. If I wanted to really just get rid of her, I would have left her with my parents and I would have left. I would have moved out. I would have given my mom custody.
What about the baby's daddy's parents? Would you have left them with them too?
I haven't talked to them since we were probably 6 or 7 years old, since we were little kids. That was probably the last time I saw or talked to them. No, I do not.
Wow.
I would not have let anything happen to my daughter, except I made the mistake of trusting another person with her. That's it.
No. Stop. You've made a lot more mistakes by that, because everything that you've told us, every single thing, from the point that you opened your mouth to the police officer this morning to right now, everything has been a lie. We're sitting at Universal Studios because of a lie. We've got all these other people in the station right now talking to us because of a lie. We've got all these other apartment buildings that we've got people that had to go check on because of a lie, okay? We need to stop this lie. Your mother has called me countless times today, okay? And that's why my phone keeps going off. Countless times, because your mother knows, your father knows, everyone around you knows that you have lied completely and absolutely from the get-go. Everyone knows. Why you're not coming out with it and why you're not telling us the truth, no one has an answer to. The only person that has an answer to that is you. And this is what we're trying to implore upon you. You need to tell us the truth about what happened to Kaylee. It's not that she was with someone and you didn't call. That's not the truth.
It is the
That's
truth.
not the truth. You need to tell.
Absolutely.
No, it's not the truth. See, we can't get past that unless you go ahead and tell us the
There's nothing to
truth.
get past because that is the truth. If there was
Well,
anything else,
let's get
something would
past
have
this.
happened.
Let's get past how we got to Universal Studios.
Oh, okay. Now we have another officer starting to speak up. Just before we hear what he has to say, seems like Cindy's acting like she should be acting, calling over and over, frantic,
Yes.
concerned.
So again, and we spoke about this last night, guys, try to keep in mind what her current narrative is for anybody who watched the Peacock series. And so you take that narrative, her version of the truth, and you apply it to what we see back then, and it doesn't make sense. But that emotion, that raw reaction from her mom, that's what breaks my heart, because her mom is knowing something is severely wrong, and she knows her daughter is lying, and that blowing him up, that's exactly what I would anticipate a parent to do.
Yep, you're exactly right. Now, I want to ask you what you think about this comment from Natasha. She says, their feelings were controlling that interview, in my opinion, not their intellectualism. And hippie chick, also, he's not skilled in interviewing. You should never overtalk the interviewee.
Yesterday I was waiting, and I was like, all right, maybe I was giving that benefit of the doubt of they just went on a wild goose chase. And so now they need to kind of lay down the law, let them know they're serious. Okay, but we're over halfway into this interview by now. You're not giving, at least Grusin gave Tisha the room to hang herself. And these lies are very important. Giving them the room to tell those lies are very important down the road for conviction. And so I wish they would back off a little bit at this point. And if you're going to ask the question, give her room to answer.
Yeah, agree. Marie says, now I'm going to have to watch Casey Anthony's old case, which I didn't want to do. And I said same, which I wanted to do, but I'm happy we're doing it together. And I'm happy you guys are getting interested too. But
Absolutely.
Okay, so now we have this other cop. Yeah, I'm with you. Give her some space. Let her talk. And I have to think, even did like these little things, which seem small in an investigation, they're not. It could impact the way the jury perceives it. I don't know. I just, you have to think about that when you know the outcome.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's get past.
Oh my gosh, wait. That's such a great point. I have to stop here. Oh, look, a squirrel. I'd never let anything happen to my daughter. Plus, I'd leave her with my parents. But he did what to her growing up?
That's right. That is right. That's why I said keep that in mind, because it's very interesting. She had all this time and she finally came out with her version of the truth. And I'm trying to keep an open mind, but I think about what she claimed happened and I apply it back then. And I would not anticipate to hear those comments. And especially when we get to the phone calls between her and her parents, and you see that energy and dynamic between her and her dad, and she's looking towards her dad to save her, not excuse me, like, what's going on. Are you going to say something? Nothing.
Wow. Oh, I can't wait to get to that. She's looking at her dad like to save her. That is just so interesting.
Oh, just wait.
Hey, being bio girl. Okay.
Why you talked to your daughter yesterday on the phone, having no idea where she's at and having not seen her for 5 weeks, and you didn't call anybody. Did you just think that one day she's just going to show up at your house?
No, I sat around yesterday trying to figure out what to do. I'm glad that I ended up seeing my mom, that all of that stuff happened for a reason. Because
you're glad you saw your mom. Let me ask you this. You could have saw your mom 5 weeks ago and said, Mom, I don't know where. You could have called your mom 5 weeks ago.
I was
what has
scared.
happened?
I saw my mom's reaction right off the bat, and it would have been the same from the get-go.
Well, so you're more afraid, so wait a minute, so you're more afraid of your mom's reaction than you are if you ever see your daughter again?
No, I'm absolutely petrified. Absolutely petrified. I know my mom will never forgive me. I'm never going to forgive myself because there's that chance that I might not see Kaylee again, and I don't want to think about
Well,
that.
let me ask you, how, by lying to us and sending us all these these wild goose chases, hold on a minute, okay? I want you to tell me, okay, this is the, I mean, is it that there's some other thing more important in your life right now that maybe that, maybe you just weren't really focused on what you were saying when you told us, so you kind of just accidentally told us you had an office here and we needed to be here because we might find stuff that would help, or did you lie to us purposely, or did you purposely mislead us? Which of those two is it?
I purposely misled.
Okay, so you purposely misled us. This was all an attempt to help find your daughter, right? That makes sense to you, correct?
Again, in a backwards sort of way, yes.
Backwards.
I'm
sort of
coming
way.
back to places that are familiar to me, that I know are familiar to her.
Oh my
situations.
God. You have to be kidding me. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
It's so hard not to pause a lot,
Yep.
but on that one I have to. So you told them you worked at Universal because you're coming back to places that are familiar to you and familiar to her?
Because she couldn't just verbally relay, hey, these are the places that I have in the forefront of my mind of where she has been previously. Can we check out these places? No, I need to create this whole ass lie, bring you guys all the way here, and then be like, okay, well, don't really work here, because that definitely makes sense.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. Jen, I'll have to reconnect it. Neat told me last night that you had to redo it, and I just haven't had a chance yet. But thank you so much, because yeah, he ain't working. The Nightbot's on break.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's not working, but I did link I hope I linked it in this description. I know I linked it in last night. Yes, I did. I linked Melissa's channel, but also the playlist that we created on her channel in the description. And then there will be another playlist on mine because they won't, I don't know. There's playlists on both channels.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I can't get the info off. Okay, here we go.
That
What did you think?
just maybe
How old is she?
would help. She's almost 3.
She's almost 3. What do you think, she's going to take a cab here? I mean,
I know
how did you
she's
think
not,
she's going to get here?
because she's with someone else. If I could find her,
She's
if I
with
could
someone
track
else.
her down,
She's
this wouldn't
with,
be happening.
okay, hold on a second. Let's put this together where it makes sense, okay? She's with someone else who's hid her from you for 5 weeks,
Yes.
who let her call you on the phone yesterday, but then hung up. But you brought us here today because she might be here.
She could be anywhere.
Well, that's true, but why here? Why would it, let me ask you this, okay? Why would a person
Oh my God.
Why would a person who has hid your daughter from you for 5 weeks, okay, bring her to the building that you used to work at? I mean, did you think we'd walk in there, she'd be sitting in the lobby, or? Okay, well, you brought us here to find her, right? Because you thought maybe in some weird sort of, I think what you said, a backwards way, that we find her here, that this would help. So I'm asking
Maybe
you.
she's been here within the last 5 weeks. Maybe they have something from up front, her coming through the turnstiles. I don't know.
So you think that this person who's hid her from you for 5 weeks, okay, that had her call you on the phone yesterday and tell you about this book she was reading, then hung up, would bring her to Universal Studios, and in this office in particular?
Not in this office.
Did not think that through at all. That
didn't.
makes no sense.
She didn't think that she would actually have to follow through with walking in and like getting to her, like she really walked through those doors. Like, could you imagine, unless she was a psychopath, like not getting nervous? And it very much reminds me of Tisha, like, wow, the extent you went to the lies, like what, you didn't think this through at all, but it just shows you are someone who has gotten away with your lies before. And that's what brings you to that level where you feel like you could get away with it.
Yeah. Hey, Pika. Oh my gosh. It's like, oh, and then you keep twisting. I brought her to a place I'm familiar, she might be familiar with. So is she going to tell the person who's keeping her from you, hey, take me, I don't know. It just makes no sense.
She wasn't even 3. Like, oh my God. Okay.
Oh my Lord.
Very easy.
Coming
Well, this
to
is where
this
you brought
office.
us. You didn't take us to the turnstiles, did you? You brought us here. right?
You're right.
Okay. Now, when you told him about these other places that were wrong earlier today, that was also an attempt to help us find her, right?
These were other places that I've gone to and either seen Kaylee or I know that her nanny has been to.
And you were completely truthful with them about all
Yes,
of them.
I was completely truthful about those places that we've been to. I've been to those steps. That's where I've dropped.
No, I'm not talking about the steps. Okay, what about
I'm
these
talking
other?
about the other places, the other houses. I know.
The old folks' home?
Not the old folks' home.
Oh, so that was not really all the way true.
I know Zanny has been to the old folks' home.
Yeah,
I've never.
You pointed at the third floor window and you said, well, that's what's her name's bedroom, and Zanny's bedroom is right below, is on the other side. That's what you told me. So that was a lie.
That was a lie.
And that was gonna help find her how? Lying about that bedroom and where Zanny's bedroom is, that was gonna help find her how? Huh?
It's not helping.
But then why would you do it? Because that's what we're here for, right? Find her.
I don't know what else to do anymore. If I knew where she was, if something
Well, let me
would have
ask you
happened,
this.
I would have admitted that a
Do you
long time ago.
do you believe thinking up more lies to tell us will help us?
Is your daughter in a better place?
No, she's not.
Are you worried about her?
I'm absolutely petrified. If she was with her family right now, she'd be in the best place.
In a better place? Does he mean like she's passed away?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Which again,
She's not.
there's 3 of them in there with her. I just wish back off a little bit, and they're far more educated with the process than me, but being 40 minutes in, like give her some room to answer, because they're just going so fast. I wish we could hear more from her. Like if you're going to ask her, what's the point of that? What's the point of lying? Give her the room to answer, but that's just me as a listener wanting
Yeah.
to hear more.
Me too. Hey, Nanya. Oh my gosh. Okay. I just cannot, because like all I keep thinking is, and she was found not guilty.
Yes.
And this is just a small piece of it, of course, but damn, man.
Yeah.
She's with someone that I absolutely do not trust. And that I'm absolutely scared.
That you don't trust yet was babysitting your daughter for a year.
I don't trust her now because of what happened.
What point did you stop trusting her?
The moment that her phone was cut off and I couldn't get in contact with my daughter.
So you thought then, man, something ain't right.
Something's wrong.
And when you started thinking that something was wrong, which police agency did you call first? Us or the city police, or who did you call first? Who did you go to for help first to help try to find her?
No one.
Oh, no, okay, all right. Okay.
Mm.
Well, I'm glad we got that straightened out.
Glad we got that straightened out.
I can't think of anything else that I can say that's going to convince you on how to do the right thing.
Let me talk to you outside about the surveillance station, maybe, but I have to secure there for a little bit.
Oh, so he wants to one-on-one. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna keep playing. I have so many thoughts, but
You want to turn it off?
let me know if you want me to pause it.
Want
I
some
will.
water or something?
No.
No, you good?
My one goal is, regardless of how it happened, like I said, I don't care. I will lie, I will steal, do whatever I can to find my daughter.
Well-
I put that in my statement, and I mean that with all of my heart.
I know, but we don't want you to lie because
No.
we work off of truth.
I know that.
And we want to find your daughter as much as you do. And I don't think you're a monster or anything like that. I think you might have some
Yep.
pressures in your life.
Exactly.
Who exerts the most pressure on you? Like my parents used to do me.
My mom does. Absolutely.
She,
Oh, your mom.
So here we go. The good guy. So guys, give me a moment. I want to talk to her. So I don't think you're a monster, Casey. I know I got a lot of pressures. You seem like you got a lot of pressures. Who exerts the most? My mom. Yeah. Oh, okay. Didn't see that one coming, but maybe we'll get some more out of her now that the rest of them have left the room.
Yeah. But your mom puts the most pressure on you. We don't hear that, your dad. Or I don't know, because his point is like your pressure, like stress, like you got a lot on your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that mom wouldn't be the go-to. Interesting. With her story that she gave at the end,
Yep.
She lies about the lies. Yes, she does.
does she not think you care for your daughter good enough, or
It's
I mean, it's rough being your single mom.
living
Gotta
at
be
home with
rough.
my parents.
Gotta be rough. You'll never live up to your mother's expectations, right?
At least not right now.
Right.
But that in no way means that I would ever do anything or let any harm come to that child. She's the one thing in this world that I love more than anything.
And I understand that. And I believe it. I see the tears in your eyes. Okay. My concern is I know from my years of experience, I know what young adults and young moms and dads can do when parents exert too much pressure on them. They don't live up to their standards. They don't. So, not that you would hurt your child, but you might, because if your parent just constantly talks down on you, makes you feel like crap, you're not good enough.
It's not constant. I brought that on myself. The stuff that she says, the thing that she said, she's been right about everything.
What kind of things does she say?
She told me that I took advantage of her, and she's right, because
And
I
how?
had for a very long time.
How did you take advantage of her?
By using credit cards when I had my own money. I still use some of her money. I went and bought material things for nothing,
Right,
whether it was things for myself, went out to eat,
right.
spent a little bit of time with friends, or went to Kaylee shopping. For whatever reason, I was extremely selfish.
Right.
I was extremely selfish for a few years, quite a few years.
What about, I don't know anything about this. Like I told you before, I was just sitting at my desk and he said, hey, come on. Something about a car at Amscott.
My car ran out of gas. I was driving actually to
Your
different
car?
places. My car, yes.
Okay.
Car that I bought from my brother 3 years ago.
Okay.
Sucks because I ran out of gas. My gas gauge is obviously reading wrong. The sensor could be wrong. It
Right.
showed I had half a tank of gas and it was empty.
When did it run out of gas? But before or after your baby was missing?
I was definitely after.
Yeah.
I was definitely after.
And it ran out of gas in the parking lot of that check cashing store?
No, it was right at the corner of Goldenrod and 50. As you can turn, you get in that merging lane where Sam's is and the Amscott.
Right.
As you're going to get on to Goldenrod from 50, that's where my car stalled, right there. So I had to get out. You guys helped me push it into that parking lot.
Okay.
And I left 2 notes on the car, even saying I was going to come back and put gas in it.
Why is your mother saying that's her car, or is she? Is that what I
It's
heard?
still in my parents' name. It was my brother's car. He ended up, that was the car they bought my brother in high school.
Okay. They bought-
He bought the car.
Are you back?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
It's crackling, just so you know.
Oh, I wonder why.
I don't know. It happened out of nowhere.
Huh. Like the audio on the video? Let me stop
Yeah,
it and restart it. Okay.
Like Rice Krispie treats when you first put milk in them, kind of crackling.
Yeah.
Okay. She said that child, number one. Then this is my car. It's not your. It's in your parents' name, okay? And yeah. Well, I stole from my mom. Even I had my own money, but like I stole their checks and credit card. And girl.
Yeah. And so I had just told Melissa in the back I had to go to the bathroom really fast and I'd be right back. And as soon as I did, I heard him say, like as soon as I got up, I heard him say, I can see the tears in your eyes. And I'm like, oh my God, it really is the good cop, bad cop. It's so interesting to see like how they're doing it, you know?
And we're gonna, because again, you know, for anybody who doesn't know, we're going complete deep dive into this case. We're gonna be doing a trial recap, and we're just going in chronological order here, but we're gonna get to the point of this car. And if you guys remember the 911 call from yesterday, you heard Cindy say it smells like there's been a dead body in the car. There's a lot that's going to be relevant regarding this vehicle. But one of the things that Casey did do after she abandoned it was park it near dumpsters so that it would mask the odor. Or if people walked by, that they would mistaken it for being the dumpster it was parked next to. But we'll get into all of that when it comes out.
I cannot get over that. Like,
Yeah.
So Nanya, I saw you said that you knew the general idea, but not all the details. And that's me too. And I've been learning like little sprinkles of the details along the way. We'll get more at trial, but I'm just shocked with like that, the dumpster thing, shocked knowing she went to a neighbor's house for a shovel, you know, a couple of days after Kaylee was last seen. there was so much circumstantial evidence, and we see like Megan Boswell and Leilani Simon, and they don't look that different, their cases.
Mm-mm.
But
no, never mind. Hold on.
What?
I'm relying on ChatGPT. You know, like it's my new thing now. I'm trying to see if ChatGPT will give me the like rundown real quickly of what her current narrative is. So in her trial, Anthony claimed that Kaylee accidentally drowned in the family pool on June 16th, 2008. She stated that she panicked and didn't know how to handle the situation, which led to her not reporting the death. She also asserted that she did not want to call 911 or alert authorities because of fear of how her family might react. So then the Peacock last year, the Peacock series, it turned into, like her dad took Kaylee from her bed that she was napping in with her. And the next thing she knows, her dad, I don't remember if she said her dad handed her Kaylee's wet limp body or she found it and then her dad took Kaylee from her. And all she remembers is that she was cold. And he says, don't worry, she'll be fine. Like, I'll handle this. And that's why she played it off like, because she believed during this whole time, Kaylee was okay. Her dad kept telling her, it's fine. She's fine. She's fine. You know, she'll be back soon throughout these 31 days. So just keep that in mind when you're listening to this.
Yeah. And because we will get to this later, but I'll just read part of this article because it's from the trial, but regarding her car. So the father of Casey, this was happening during the parents' testimony, this article. It's actually written by Ashley Banfield. I'll drop it in the chat as well, in 2011 for ABC News. And it says, the father had said they found maggots and smelled something that you never forget when he opened the trunk of his daughter's car and said a quick prayer that the odor was not from his missing granddaughter or his daughter. He testified today for the third time. Forensic evidence in her car will be pivotal in the murder trial. Experts have said the car tested positive for chloroform and human decomp, and a strand of Kaylee's hair was found in the trunk. So I'll drop this in the thing. I know I don't want to skip ahead too much, even though we all kind of know little bits and pieces. Some people know it all. So I think it's fine, but I'll drop this article in. But that's some of the stuff that was in the car.
And you have to remember, George was very familiar. Like he was a previous law enforcement himself. So he knew. Right. How many times have we heard it is a smell that once I don't want to say smelled it once, but like once you're familiar with it, you will never forget it. And it's very recognizable. Yeah.
Hey, Samantha. I can only imagine because I've had instances where like a field mice have came in my mom's house and died in one of the air vents, and they couldn't find it, and you could smell that there was something decaying, which I think it's slightly different, but still, that even only smells like that. There's nothing else to compare it to describe how it smells. Right. Hey, Samantha. Hey, Angie. Hey, you guys coming in. High Hope said, it's so interesting. I agree. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Oh, hopefully there's no crackle. Let me know if there is.
He paid off the car.
And he sold it to you, but not officially.
What in the world? What would make that start?
Try to share your entire screen, maybe. That's what I have to do every time now. I don't know why. But that's the only solution I have.
Oh my gosh, how frustrating. Okay, 1 second. Like on my side, it doesn't at all.
Oh, you don't hear cry? That's how mine is too. It sounds perfectly normal from my side. And people are like, it's in 2 time. Aunt Brenda's little saying that I have, like they say it's all funky and stuff. And I'm like, what? Like, you look big. It goes like, remix, you look big.
Okay, well, let me know if it is now, and if let's hope and pray that it's not. If it is, I don't know, I'll try something else. But here, let's see.
My brother's car. He ended up, that was the car they
Is
bought
it?
my brother in high school.
Okay, so well,
He bought the car.
What?
I know. Sorry. I must have rubbed it off on you because it sucks because you're going to have to flip. Unless you want me to share it, I can share it so you don't have to worry about flipping back and forth as the controller.
If you
I
want
know
to,
it
you can,
sucks.
or it doesn't matter if you want to, but if it's going to put you out too much, then I'll just mute
No.
now and go.
What's the timestamp? I have it up already.
Okay, 46:43. Thank you, Melissa. What the heck?
I hope I didn't do that. It's just my presence, man.
Oh my gosh, that is so freaking weird.
Dude, it is annoying. And I hope you don't have to deal with that because I have no explanation for it.
Yeah, damn. Okay.
Now this one, okay.
Awesome.
Ready? And you just tell me when to stop.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm also fine. I think you'll choose good times too. I want to pause every second, but I also don't want to let it run too long. So,
Okay. Closed captions. Good.
That was the car they bought my brother in high school.
okay, so well,
He bought the car, he paid off the car.
And he
then
sold it to
he
you?
sold it to me, yes.
but not officially with
No.
the title transfer.
My parents kept the title, whether for insurance purposes or whatever else, they still kept it in their name.
Oh, okay. So the fact that it was at the check cashing place is just coincidental because you ran out of gas.
Because I ran out
It's
of
not
gas.
like you
It
went
wasn't on
there to
purpose.
cash a check.
No, I didn't
go
go
in
there
the
to cash
store.
a check. No, I didn't go into the store. I
Right,
wasn't abandoning my car.
right,
It just happened circumstantially, I ran out of gas.
right.
I had to call my boyfriend Tony to come and pick me up.
Wow. If you were in our shoes, what could we do to help you find your child?
I don't know.
What more can we do? Do you have a computer at home?
Mhm.
Did you ever send, what's the nanny's name?
Zenaida.
Did you ever send her any emails or
Her
did she
email
ever?
accounts bounced back. I've tried twice. I tried
she
twice
did-
this
did she-
morning.
have
She
you-
had email.
Even when y'all were in good times, would she send emails back and
On
forth?
occasion, we would talk
Okay.
online, not usually through email
So we
more.
might be able to track her. We might be able to track
If
her.
I check my logs, we could probably find her through instant messaging.
What would be great is if we could have our forensic computer guy
Mhm.
take your computer with your permission and search it, and he can probably track her by her AOL or whatever account and maybe see, because she's gonna set up another account somewhere where she
Oh, yeah.
goes.
She's
Would
gonna
that
set
be
up
something you'd
another
be
account.
willing to do?
I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
because I know that I have documentation on my computer somewhere. I have
Okay, well,
to.
he can find it. What he does, he makes a copy of what's on your computer, so you don't lose anything on your
Yeah.
computer.
That we can just pull it.
And then he can
Go
search
through
through it and, maybe there's some clues.
And those Google searches and everything that happened on that computer is going to be very big come trial because it's going to show exactly who was home, times that were left, and things that were searched in the days leading up, the day of, and the days following Kaylee's disappearance.
I wonder, like, how long had stuff like that been used as evidence in trials at that point?
It's a good question. And that's why I'm eager to go back because I remember the topic of clicking on to basically like a related search came up, and I don't recall whether or not that they were able to prove or disprove that right now, but it's interesting because we're seeing that same topic now in Idaho, and it's like I don't remember if they were able to debunk that or not.
Very interesting. And here, go ahead. I'll tell you.
No, you're fine.
I was just going to say, I did find some more information on the Zanny the Nanny defamation case, and either in between the interviews or before we go tonight, I'll read it to you guys a little bit about that, how that turned out, and you will be just wait.
And then walk away, Renee said Casey snuck on her parents' property at least 3 times that month in June and stole gas cans from her dad's shed.
Wow.
Interesting.
Clues there as far as where this lady has gotten off to. And when she was watching your baby, for the year and a half,
Almost 2 years.
almost 2 years, was she always in that same building?
She'd been at a house over in Andover Lakes for a while. That was one of the main places.
Was it her house or was it the one she was sharing?
No, it was a friend's house.
So it probably wasn't in her name?
No, it was not.
Is that one of the addresses Yuri had?
No.
Do you know that address?
House. I do not know the address.
Andover Lakes, where's that at?
Off of Dean and Crayford.
Okay, that's up, there's a McDonald's out that way?
Yeah. That's the new one.
Do you remember how to get to that house? So we could get the address, maybe do a title search or, but she was probably just renting a room or?
I think she was running a room there for a while. She had a couple of the roommates. I know the house wasn't in any of their names. I think they were just running through.
Did you know any of those roommates?
I have names. I have 2 names for them, but nothing.
Have you given them to Yuri?
Yes.
Okay, what were those names?
Raquel Farrell and Jennifer Rosa.
Okay. You had any contact with them?
No.
Have any way of getting a hold of them, cell phone?
I never really talked to them much anyway. I think I probably saw them maybe a handful of times.
Right.
Their schedules were completely opposite of mine. They were never really anybody that I met besides just in passing. Even with the boyfriend that Zenaida had last year, I saw him maybe twice.
Right.
They only dated a couple months. It was never anything serious. She never had him around Kaylee or the other children she had babysat, so it was never an uncomfortable situation. But this is
So she never kept that. She has this whole fucking story.
So much detail.
So much detail, yet conveniently also, no, I don't have any of the information of any of these other people, yet I know their dating life. Okay.
Wow. They're like the names. Did she have those? Like, I don't know. She just was so
ready to go.
yeah.
Well, yesterday was Juliette Lewis. I don't know if that was the actor or what.
Oh my gosh. It just seemed so natural. Like it flowed right out. Like, wow.
She told Tisha, hold my beer. It's that it really, like, at least she's able to keep composure, but Tisha wasn't, you know?
Yeah, at all. You could see her anxiety all over her. Casey's just, she's skilled at lying and manipulating.
I think at this point, currently, and I know we'll eventually get into like what she is doing currently, but I think she is one that believes she's convinced herself of this lie at this point, because she's gotten away with it. And that in that Peacock documentary, she's like living with her fucking lawyers and shit, and they're all around this big supper table sharing soup and shit. And I'm not kidding, Ellie. I'm not kidding. Okay. And it was all about, it's finally time for Casey to share her story. And I think at this point, she believes it. She's convinced herself of it.
My God. Wow. That's so interesting. We talked last night about watching that. And before we come back, like for our next parts after this,
Yes.
I'm watching it.
Me too. Yeah.
Pika said that Casey's own parents said she was very good at lying and had been doing it her whole life like this.
Yep.
Did they say that at trial, or I wonder, do you know, Melissa? Or
Yes. I don't see, I feel like I remember there were times where they were honest and there were times where they also took the fall for things. That's what I remember. I don't remember specifics though.
oh, okay.
But I'm
Well,
not kidding
that's
about
fine.
that soup and that table. They did. Okay. And so when you see that part, you're going to laugh because you'll know what I mean.
Hey, Crafty Chris. Okay. Wow.
This is so heart-wrenching because there was never a sign, never a single sign that this was going to happen.
Right. Do you know where she was from? With a name like Zenaida or whatever?
Zenaida.
Zenaida?
She's mixed.
Oh, sorry. One thing. She found out her dad was the star witness in the indictment. He was for the grand jury. So he testified. That is why all of a sudden she came out and these accusations with her dad. It's because the dad was the star witness during the indictment for the grand jury.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess you could take that as the answer. Like, yes, they were honest about things. But that you'll see in trial, there were moments where I feel like there was covering being done. But yeah.
And I could see that. Ava says Cindy was more of the enabler. Dad wasn't so much. I could see that just because a lot, that's often times like the dynamic with parents. The mom can be a little easier. Not always, it depends. There's some hard ass moms, but
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
With a name like Zenaida or whatever.
Zenaida. She's mixed. She's Puerto Rican and her father's black. She's from New York. From what I've been told, that's where she was born. She lived in Miami. She went to U of F.
You said you went to Colonial High School. Did you go to college afterwards?
Valencia.
Valencia? How many years at Valencia?
About a year and a half. I got my event planning certificate.
Yeah. Oh, and that's when you got hired on here at,
Oh, I got that outside of all of this. I just wanted to do event planning, period, and working occasional events even before actually coming to the event department, even part-time or as a seasonal employee. It was just something I always wanted to do anyway.
Right.
So.
When you were growing up, you take any medicines or anything?
No.
Your baby take any medicines? Did she need any medicine?
Not at all.
She's good health.
She's had one cold and it lasted 2 days her entire life.
Yeah. Wow.
She's been extremely healthy.
Pediatrician. Who's your baby's pediatrician?
Dr. Silva.
Did these chairs not very comfortable?
No,
way back.
Exactly. I'm not comfortable alone.
I feel like I'm leaning way back. Did the nanny ever take baby to the doctor?
The only people that were on the list was myself and both of my parents. Then my dad had come with me to a couple of visits. My mom, I think, came to one. It was usually just Kaylee and I.
Favorite places to go? I guess Universal is one of them.
Well, as a theatrical thing, of course, but she liked G. Blanchard Park, going to Lake Underhill and walking around the lake.
Whereabouts in the park did she like the best?
The playgrounds. She liked to just...
Sorry, I ran to the restroom, but I saw 21.
Oh, that's okay.
Super chatted.
Yeah, that's okay. That's so sweet. Thank you, 2112. How awesome. And away game tonight. Hashtag hi, Alex. Hashtag hi, MJ. 2112, she did it. Thank you.
I love it. Hey, 2112.
Okay, so speaking about, you guys in the chat are talking about her high school. So I found this on biography.com just really quick because I didn't know this before, and it does happen prior to this, but of course. So this article says that she was a bright, personable young girl born in Ohio. Friends say a pattern of lying began when she was in high school. Cindy and George attended Anthony's graduation along with her grandparents, only to discover that she was several credits short of graduating. Anthony had stopped attending classes towards the end of the school year, but led her family to believe she would be walking with the graduating class. They said that they still threw her a graduation party.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
See what happens when you enable the lies? I feel like I'm always talking about this. Do not let someone lie and continuously get away with it, because you're going to create a monster.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
They still threw her a graduation party?
Yeah. A few people in the chat were saying that, so I Googled it. Now, the biography doesn't say that. I will look some more, but it does talk about her not actually graduating. And, yeah, her parents showing up at graduation to find out she didn't have the credits, which, wow.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
Crap, what was her name? There's the Netflix documentary on it. The girl who hired her boyfriend and friends to kill her parents, but her father survived. But they believed she was going to university for years, and she wasn't. And they found out, and that's most likely what they were very strict too, and wouldn't let her date the boyfriend she wanted. And so, crap, what was her name? Jennifer. Yes.
Jennifer, what?
I don't remember. I'm waiting for them to say. I'm waiting for them to say the last name. Honestly, it was another one where the Spawn, man, she begging me to watch that damn, and so we were just watching it. And so it's fresh in my mind. Yes. Jennifer Pan, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't think. Oh wait, yes, I have heard of that. Yes,
Mhm.
now that I hear the last name, I have. I've seen like either like in a documentary or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pan.
Yeah,
the
Kimberly, yep.
documentary. Very interesting. Okay.
Whereabouts in the park did she like the best?
The playgrounds. She
Yeah.
liked to just attempt to run around Lake Underhill. She liked to go and walk the big trail at Jay Blanchard Park, the
Yeah,
Yukon Trail.
that's a big
She
trail.
loved that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we just finished walking that trail. That's where the jogger was killed, I believe.
Mhm.
It's a pretty park.
My mom didn't want me going out there to run for that reason.
Yeah.
She didn't even want me running on the outside of our neighborhood around Chickasaw for the longest time because of that.
I'm trying to think, when you pull into the park, is the playground off to the right if you're looking at
There's
the creek or
two
the river?
playgrounds.
Which one did she play at?
She's played at both of them, but usually the bigger one that's down towards where the Y is.
Right. That's the one she liked the most?
Yeah. Because there's more things to climb on, and for her to run around, there's usually a lot more little kids.
Yeah.
So, and there's swings.
When was the last time she was there?
The last time I know that she was there was the end of May. I took her in April a couple times. I've taken her a few times myself this year. The last time that I know that she went with someone other than myself was the end of May.
End of May. And you last saw her June the 9th?
Monday.
Hmm. Do you remember what y'all did on June the 8th? I can't think of what I did, but anything significant?
I think I might have been at Tony's. I think my mom took Kaylee up to see her parents in Mount Dora. She either took her up there that Saturday or that Sunday. It's my boyfriend's apartment.
Oh, okay. Mount Dora.
It's just north of Apopka.
Yeah. So that was like a day visit?
For my parents or for my mom, yeah. When my mom goes up there, even just by herself or with my dad, or if I go up there with her, it's usually just.
Your mom will go, that's your current boyfriend, right? Is that what you said?
Mhm.
So your mom will go there and she
No, my
likes
mom
him?
will go up to Mount Dora to see her parents.
Oh, okay. And your boyfriend just happens to live with her too, they're not?
No, he lives off of University.
Oh. Okay, I got you. So your baby went up there with your mom to see her parents?
See her great grandparents.
Yeah. How old are they?
Wow, my grandfather's, I think, 88, maybe.
Wow.
And my grandmother's probably 82, 83.
Hang on a second.
She stole from her too, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
My God. The fact that you even have grandparents around at that age, you are absolutely blessed. And to take advantage of them in any way, gross.
Hey, can I ask something? Is it unusual to anybody else that when she refers to them, she says, my mother's parents? To me, I'd be like, my grandparents, right? But maybe it's not unusual, or it seems like there's a distance there. I don't know if it's usual for other people. Like, would you say my mom's parents, or would you say my grandparents?
Well, I think I would say my grandparents, unless I was trying to be like super descriptive or like, exactly who. I don't know. I can see how it looks like distancing language as well. Yeah, that's very unusual. She's distancing them. Yeah. Maybe if both of her parents are alive, I would have clarified.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm also curious. I'm like, is he making small talk, or is he trying to get a baseline? Is he trying to see how this is why I wish we could be watching it, but is he trying to see how she answers questions that he knows she has no reason to lie with? Things like, oh, how old is your grandparent? Oh, to see how she responds, to see the movement in her body, so that when he asks another question that he's going to want the answer to see what shift there is.
I could see that. Hopefully that's what he's doing. If he's, skilled enough, I think he's at the very least trying to make her comfortable and, just make her comfortable and feel like she can talk to him without judgment. He's had a totally different attitude than the other guy. I think he was sitting there watching the other guy lose his mind. He's like, okay, hold up a minute.
Yeah.
Like
back off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good because see, you're making her feel comfortable. You're talking, you're relating, you're doing everything that you should be doing. And she's speaking, right? Don't come in that offense, and she won't come in the defense necessarily. And let's see what you're going to get from here.
Yeah. Yep, I do too.
I am an interview, Meg. That's my partner. He's going on a cruise to Bahamas, I think. Was it 3 day, 4 night, or
Usually.
4 day, 3 night, or something like that? That'd be nice. I guess, but I don't like boats. So, man, I just don't know everything that was asked of you, and I just don't know. You're our biggest help. You're going to be our biggest help in solving this.
I have nothing to go off of. That's the problem. I have perspective ideas of maybe where she could go. But at the same time, she could have gone back up to New York. She could have gone up to Jacksonville where we have a friend. Could have gone down to Miami where her mom and her sister live now. She could have gone anywhere.
Did she have any children?
No.
And we're talking about the babysitter, right? She didn't have any children? Could she have children? Is it something that she could have done?
I'm pretty sure that she could. That was never anything that came up, but I mean,
Did she ever, when you look back, did she ever make any funny, like, I love this child, I wish you were mine, or anything like that? Or?
Never that I had witnessed or anybody else had ever told me. She used to just say how much she loved Kaylee, that she was such a good kid. And, she was very, very proud of how she was being raised.
Right.
It was always...
Oh my God.
A classic liar has to also incorporate a lie that boosts them up, right?
Yeah.
She just was so admirable at how Kaylee was being raised, by me.
God. I cannot get over that. I was reaching to unmute too as soon as you got like, what?
Yep.
Give yourself a compliment there.
Ego boost, right? Because just the lies aren't enough. You got to also make sure to give a compliment to yourself that is a bullshit compliment, not necessary whatsoever, but you got to include that.
My God. And she's so creative, like the detail. I can't get it, like creative. I can't think of another word, like in an evil way, of course, but just like, wow, the details.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. The fake person she made up complimented her. How nice.
Yeah, like she was really astonished that, I was just such a good mom. Well, okay, sure, Casey. But I appreciate that this detective, unlike the other one, right? Which again, good cop, bad cop, I get it. He is entertaining Zanny. The other one was like, bullshit. She doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's a lie. This one, which you have to, go ahead, give her the room, because later down the line, when it's time for a conviction, you can think about it with Gannon before they recovered with divine intervention, Gannon, it would have been those pretext calls, and it would have been that interview with Grusing where they really would have gone off of her inconsistent stories and lies, right? And so it's a big thing to give that room to let them show those inconsistencies.
Absolutely. I would absolutely be the president of my fan club.
Yeah.
My gosh. Okay.
Good praise, but more of things that I've heard from other friends. Nothing that sounded out of the ordinary, that was ever strange or weird.
Right.
But then this just happened. She was nonchalant with me the morning of. Everything was perfectly fine.
And when you would call, like you would drop baby off in the morning or for the day, or was it because you had to go to work and she was watching? Mm-hmm. Would you call during the day? Call her up during the day?
I would always call and check on Kaylee or send a text message, or if I was online, just to make sure that everything was okay, or she would occasionally call me.
Can you get online here at work? Can you send text messages from work?
I usually just use my phone.
Oh, okay.
You're at work.
Text from,
where'd you work?
I guess he's sorry.
You're at work. Don't forget, they're at Universal.
Yeah. I guess he's just trying to make her think. I don't know.
Right here at work, you know, because we're sitting in a friggin' Universal conference room right now. But,
Oh my God.
you know, like, where does she work right now? She doesn't work anywhere as far as I know.
Yeah.
But she's still running with it, even though she admitted that's a lie. But she's now, because he's giving her that room, she's like, yeah, I mean, I usually just call you. Wait, ma'am, you've already admitted to this lie. What the hell? What the hell?
Even though she already said it's not true, made it all up, doesn't help at all.
I haven't worked here in 2 years.
So can you do that here at work? Well, yeah, I usually text when
Or I'll check on that computer while I'm at work, you know. What? Oh, she doesn't even realize, man.
So Nanya, no, this is at Universal Studios after she dragged them all the way there, walked in, act like she worked there, and then by the time they got up there, told them she didn't actually work there.
Right. So yesterday was part 1, and basically Casey's mom hasn't seen Casey or Kaylee in 31 days. Well, in more than 31 days. And they found the car abandoned, and they had to get it out of the impound. And she finally tracked down Casey, I think at her boyfriend's house, and she called the cops 911 twice that day, and she was trying to get Casey picked up for using her card and checks and stealing the car, because she wanted to know where Kaylee was. And so she was basically saying, I'll throw you in jail if you don't tell me where Kaylee is. And that's when the third 911 call comes in, where Casey admitted to her mom that Kaylee has been missing for 31 days and that the babysitter took her, and that she's been trying to figure this out on her own. So Cindy calls 911. She is in distress. She finds out that, oh my God, she's been missing for 31 days. And that now the car that we got back from the impound smells like there's been a dead body in it. So now this is the next day after that. And on this day, Casey has brought investigators to where she claims she last dropped Kaylee off at, Zanny the Nanny's, except that is an abandoned apartment. The other apartment with friends that she claims Zanny was once at is an old folks home. And then she said that she worked at Universal Studios. So they drove all the way out to Universal Studios, walked in, followed her as she walked throughout this whole building until she finally turned a corner and said, all right, I don't work here. She hadn't worked there in 2 years. So they did this interview literally still at Universal and was like, what the hell? Like, everything you have given us so far is a lie. Everything. So no, she doesn't work at Universal. That's why it's so weird that now this cop is coming in with a calmer energy and being like, all right, so when you make the arrangements with the nanny, right? Do you usually message her? You know, do you do it from the computer at work? She's like, yeah, I mean, you know, like I could also do it on my phone. I usually do it on my phone. Excuse me, 30 minutes ago, we already established you don't work here. So that is a whole ass lie. So why she's even willing to entertain that now is just mind blowing.
Oh my God. It's unbelievable. And did you say this at the beginning? The car ran out of gas. That's how Cindy got it? Or did you mention that? I know that it was.
So her gas tank, the gauge was off. So I guess it couldn't tell her when she was out of gas or not. But I don't recall why it was impounded. If she left a note on the car too. But again, it was parked like near a dumpster, and eventually they impounded it. I don't recall how long it was left there or what. So Cindy and George had to go and get the car out because it was in their name. And that's when they brought the car back. She finds out Kaylee has been missing from 31 days. And then when they open up the car to go look through it, that overwhelming odor comes out.
Yep. And then that's when we have the 911 call of her, like Cindy goes from, you know, more calm to just frantic
and concerned to absolute frantic. Yeah.
Hey Riley.
Hi.
Use my computer and instant message from, you know, anywhere else where I have access.
Well, once again, I mean, that phone, I'm not an electronic geek, but I mean, the phone might have some valuable clues in there that can help us try to track down maybe that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick. You have to remember, she told them she dropped her off with Zanny while she worked. So now it comes out She doesn't even work. So why are you dropping Kaylee off with this alleged nanny? You see what I'm saying? So that lie was also intertwined with, I needed to drop Kaylee off. Well, I worked, but now you don't even work. So why would you even need to drop her off?
Now, I have not heard it. Have I, as it went over my head, because I'm watching chat and stuff too, like she has not explained why there was 5 weeks of being fine, really, right? But yet you weren't trying to get her or see her. They haven't really dug too deep into that.
The most we have gotten so far is she was trying to do this investigation on her own, go through her own resources, and she didn't. She knew her mom was going to flip out, and that's that.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I remember that. I just didn't know if they like I don't remember hearing them press her about it. She's like, she could have went to New York or this or that. It's like, but yeah, you're just now trying to get her back. Now we know you don't work or anything. So
Right.
why 5 weeks later?
Well, when the investigator did press her, that was the investigator that didn't give her room to speak. I'm waiting for this investigator to press her a bit.
Okay.
I'm not an electronic geek, but I mean, the phone might have some valuable clues in there that can help us try to track down maybe
The
that.
bad thing is it only saves 20 calls at a time.
Oh, Allie. So this messaging app that you communicate with Zanny the nanny on, that would actually be critical. And if we could get access to that and we could see the history, the thing is, it only saves 20 calls at a time.
Oh my God. What phone does that? There was a comment one of you guys said earlier, like this would have, I think it was Natasha, this would have been handled so differently had it happened today. Think about that.
And that's why when we come trial and the phone records come out, it's going to be very interesting, guys. But like, how did you think this was going to, girl? Seriously? Oh, okay.
You know, anywhere else where I have access.
Well, once again, I mean, that phone, I'm not an electronic geek, but I mean, the phone might have some valuable clues in there that can help us try to track down maybe
The
that.
bad thing is it only saves 20 calls at a time. And text messages, it only saves the messages that I receive. It doesn't show anything that I sent. That's why I pulled up a list of stuff for them.
Is that a Boost phone?
No, it's a Nokia. It's an AT&T phone. It's probably one of the cheapest, crappiest, simplest phones.
But the phone company, your service will have your telephones itemized for everything you
I
made,
have
right?
everything, but
Incoming and outgoing, right?
incoming and outgoing. The thing is,
Do you have those itemized bills for?
I printed off the ones for July.
Did you give them to Yuri? Okay.
We did last night. Actually, I put them on a zip drive form. I gave him my zip drive that has pictures
Okay.
and it has 2 different Word documents. One has my text messages, when they were sent to what number, and ones that I received. It didn't show the actual message itself, but it at least showed text message sent at this time to such and such number.
Right.
Same thing with the phone list. I just need to go back on the Singular website and find the other months.
Right.
Because I know she's had at least 3 different phone numbers in the last almost 4 years that I've met her. And I know that she was on 2 different phone plans.
And she lived in 2 different places since, did you know of?
She's lived in
Since she's been watching your child?
No, she's lived just in Orlando since I've met her. But she had just.
In the Andover Lakes. Was she watching your baby there?
Yeah.
And then in the, whatever this other place is, or?
There was another apartment that she had been in probably right about the time that I met her. It's Althea Club Apartments.
Does Yuri know all that? Althea Club Apartment? So
she'd only lived there for a few months. I think Kaylee probably was only there maybe once or twice.
Did she live in the apartment that you dropped her off at the steps? Was that one of the ones she lived in, or was that?
That was one of the places where we had met up a couple different times. I actually have a couple friends that live in that complex, so does she.
Okay.
A good friend of mine from high school still lives there. He has a 1-bedroom apartment.
Do you know
around
do you know who her friends were in there, where they lived, or names, or anything like that?
Not.
So you met up and dropped your child and did an exchange with this nanny on a random steps of an apartment building in which she did not live, but conveniently, which again we spoke about yesterday, majority of the time, lies are built off a small truth. And because you have friends in that apartment building, it was familiar to you, and that's what you figured you would go for, right? You knew that that was an abandoned apartment built, like that specific unit. You knew nobody lived in it. That's why you went for that one. But we're supposed to believe that, oh, no, I didn't drop her off at the house. No, I dropped her off at this random steps that, for whatever reason, Nanny would drive to and then bring Kaylee back home with her. What?
Yeah. And then also you guys asking about the phones. BlackBerry was out then. I just looked. The iPhone 3 came out in 2008 and it was only $199 brand new when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like the beginning of smartphones kind of taking over, but people still having like the Razors and the Nokias and that kind of stuff. Regardless, they save more than 20 calls, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, and Nanya, so because Nanya says nobody questioned how she paid for a nanny with no job or even why she needed a nanny. At this point, like, again, they're at Universal, so everything just came to a head right here in this interview. But as far as Cindy, no, Casey lived with Cindy and George. And so that's why Cindy was in a panic, because she predominantly was raising Kaylee as Casey kind of went in and out, was partying. That there, as far as she knew, she didn't know who Zanny the nanny was. All of a sudden, though, Casey's gone for over a month. She hasn't seen Kaylee. There's a huge concern. She's never gone this long without seeing her granddaughter. And then all of a sudden this story is out that she had this babysitter. And so nobody else knew. It was just lies upon lies upon lies. Yeah.
She used to talk about people all the time, but would never use specific names or really go into any detail about anything. And again, it never seemed weird. Some people are just very particular about giving out details or specific details about other people. So I understood all of that, but
they all lived in that house. But at the end of the day, Kaylee is Casey's daughter, right? So she would kind of go for the weekend, come back, like do her thing. But all of a sudden she left and she never came back, her or Kaylee. And so her mom was desperately trying to reach her, get in touch, until she finally hunted her down one day. And this was the day before this interview. And that's when she's calling 911, trying to get Casey thrown into jail for the theft that she had on them, just to get, basically she was holding it over her head. Like, if you don't tell me where Kaylee is, I'm having you arrested right now for all that money you're stealing and the car that you're stealing. Like, I don't give a shit. Tell me where my grandbaby is. And then finally she comes out and says, I haven't seen her for 31 days. I dropped her off with the nanny and she hasn't given her back. And that's when Cindy calls 911, like in a fit.
Tess said she had an apartment with a roommate previous to that summer, but I guess stayed there that summer. But so, 31 days, Nanya. But here's the thing, because that is a long time, but they left. So the last remember Kaylee and Casey leaving, and they just didn't come back and weren't answering. And they were, looking for her, and then they get the car, and then like it all unfolds, like Melissa was saying. Hey, Michelle D, thank you. Glad that you're here.
Looking back at stuff now, the privacy, the way she was a little bit changing phones, and it didn't seem right whatsoever.
Right.
So looking back at any place that I know that she had ever gone to, or that again would seem familiar for me, that maybe I've gone to meet her, to drop off Kaylee or to pick up Kaylee for whatever reason. We'd find neutral places sometimes, or I'd go and pick her up at a grocery store if that's where they were, to try to make it a little bit easier.
If we found the nanny today and we found your baby, what's the next biggest hurdle for you in your life, as far as who's it? Maybe explaining something to somebody, or what's the next biggest concern? I know your major concern now is finding your baby.
Honestly, that's all I care about at this point, and I'll take that necessary step with whatever. With
who would that be? I mean, who's going to be the next hurdle in your life as far as trying to explain that, no, I'm not the neglectful mother, I'm not, is it going to be your mom?
No, it's going to be saying that and proving that to myself every day. My mom flat out told me yesterday she will never be able to forgive me, and I even told her I'm never going to be able to forgive myself. Every day I've been beating myself up about this. Every day.
Right.
not knowing where to go, what to do, running in circles, literally, because that's all I can do at this point.
Right.
Even if I would have had my car in the perfect condition, under perfect conditions, it wouldn't have mattered. Where would I have gone? Just driven around for nothing? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I just, I would hope this would never happen to you again, but I think if it ever happened
I would
again,
never let this happen again.
the very first phone call should be to
Would
the
absolutely
police.
be to the
Because we have
police.
so many resources.
I wouldn't hesitate to talk to my parents this time if
Right.
something happened. I mean, I learned the biggest lesson from all this. I made the greatest mistake that I ever could have made as a parent. And I even, told Yuri that this morning, and he said he couldn't disagree.
Right.
You all right?
No, I'm just gonna stand up and stretch my leg here. Well, I know you've been in here a long time. Appreciate you talking to us and whatnot. I mean,
I'm sorry I've given you guys the runaround.
we're not trying to be big scary guys. We're just
Oh,
trying
I
to get,
know, and
we're just trying to make sure we get accurate information so we have something to work off of.
I understand that. I just wish I honestly had more things to help with. We've talked about going through my computer, maybe trying to find past conversations through instant messenger or through emails, something.
Okay.
I'll offer up my computer in a heartbeat. Just like with my phone logs and everything else, anything that could possibly help. That's why we've set up websites and been making phone calls and trying to get a hold of people. I had such a limited number of people that I was actually trusting at that point, thinking maybe they could help, maybe they'd have some insight. I didn't want to involve a bunch of people that maybe didn't know the situation. The biggest mistake was not calling you guys right off the bat. I understand all of that. It's the biggest slap in the face, and I did that to myself. But the worst of all I've done was to my daughter by allowing her to still be with someone else.
Yeah, that's true. You're right about that. By failing to notify somebody, right? I mean, I'm glad you acknowledged that, but by failing to notify somebody, you put your daughter at greater risk.
Even bigger risk.
You put your daughter in terrible danger by just letting this drag out for 5 weeks and not telling anybody. That's, you're right. I'm not gonna argue with you there.
No.
Okay. You wanna head back to the office and
Yeah.
get outside? I wanna bring this Zenaida up on the, I'm gonna put that name in, David, and see what we get. Better take a look, make sure we're.
Both of my parents were even saying to try to figure out other names if she went by something else.
Let me just go ahead because this is still running. I noticed it. Raise your right hand for me, just like this morning. You swear everything you told me is the truth now about the lies and everything else? Okay.
Okay. So the next interview was the one we accidentally started yesterday at the beginning, which is after they left Universal, went back to the police station, and then started, which still kind of confused me because didn't she say in that interview something about an indictment?
Yes, the one that we started yesterday, she did. She said something about the grand jury indictment.
So how is that possible if it's the one right after this?
I'm wondering if they're labeled wrong, but 2 places have it labeled that way. So,
Right. Let me see when Cindy's interview.
okay. And then while you do that, let me show you guys what I found about her lawsuit just really quick. So Zenaida was a real person, and she sued Casey for defamation in 2013. This is pretty freaking infuriating. So Casey told authorities her daughter was with Zenaida, supposedly Kaylee's babysitter. The real Zenaida, a woman by the name of Zenaida, does exist, and she was present at Casey's trial. She went to the trial. However, as reported by the Christian Post, Gonzalez denied knowing Casey, Kaylee, on that. Casey, Kaylee, and the Anthonys. Gonzalez said her life had become more difficult because of her name's involvement in the case, despite her not having anything to do with it. Since they know my name, everywhere I go, they are insinuating that I did something wrong because my name is so much in the news, she said. Regarding that statement, Casey stood by her statement. Her daughter was last seen alive with Gonzalez, who she referred to as Zanny the Nanny, for 3 years. A lawyer who was, for a time, part of her defense team confirmed to CBS that the story about Gonzalez was indeed a lie. He said she lied. Sure, I think everyone knows that was a lie. So Zenaida sues Kaylee, files a defamation suit against her, claimed that her mentioning her name amid the search for Kaylee disrupted her life and painted her in a bad light. She was subjected to hours of interviews with authorities. She also received death threats. As reported by ABC News, she lost her home and her job because of Kaylee's allegations. And in 2015, her case was dismissed. The judge said that Kaylee's statements about the woman named Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez were not malicious and didn't explicitly state that Gonzalez was a kidnapper or a murderer. So it was dismissed. Now she was later accused of theft and arrested, later on, but I just cannot believe that it was dismissed. Let me try this hyperlink. I just want to see what ABC News reported about that. Casey Anthony may be grilled by a lawyer for Zenaida. Okay, and I guess they reported that she lost her home because of this. Which, wow, it seems like the justice system keeps working in her favor. And she's not being held accountable. She said when she first started this, it wasn't about money. She thought Kaylee would never see the light of day again. It was about accountability and responsibility. Let me just see if there's anything else added in this that we missed. No, that's it. But yeah, so she ended up getting away with that too, which that sucks, especially if she did actually lose that stuff because of her accusations. I can imagine that would have made her life difficult. Can you imagine the people looking her up on Facebook, MySpace, email, her address, her phone number? Like, come on.
Yeah.
So
I'm finding Cindy's like a 3-parter, and it's like it says it's like the important parts, but I can't find the full one, even though it says the full one is on the channel. But I'm sure it'll include the important parts.
I think let's do that then, because if there's anything else that should be included at trial, it will be. Hey, Grandma Sherry.
Yeah.
And if it's 3 parts, that's good, because we won't finish it all here. It's already 10.
Well,
so
the first is just 9 minutes, 7.5 minutes, 6 minutes, all 3 of them. So it's not even that long. But yeah, why isn't this go?
Smile more. Do you mean of the trial? So we're gonna watch it, but I'm glad that they're out there. The transcripts. I mean, there are video depositions regarding Zenaida's civil suit, and Cindy is spicy. Oh, okay. Angie, I'm gonna save your comment so I can look at that later. Oh no, of the interviews. Okay, smile more. There are transcripts of Cindy's interviews. So we could watch the clips and then double check it. But do you want me to try to play it? How do you want to do this?
I'm trying to just, it's so hard when it doesn't tell us the freaking day.
Hey, A for advocate. Okay.
Can someone tell me, maybe that is familiar, or I'll have to start to play it to know if this is the first.
The beginning of it, yeah. And Natasha, yeah, she was a real person. That's what I was saying. She ended up suing Casey for defamation, but she lost. But she was a real person, and she did not babysit Kaylee, and she did not know Casey, Kaylee, or her family.
So let me see. because I could see she has a shirt on, and I don't know if she would have a shirt made already. But let's see. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Is that we want to try and, as we've done with several of Casey's friends, is trying to establish a timeline, dates that she was definitely somewhere, dates that she was definitely not where she was supposed to be. So Detective Edwards has done a phenomenal job right now in dealing with all friends. So we're hoping that by sitting here, maybe you can fill in some blanks for us.
I'll do my best.
I have more friends to go. I'm just
what's going to help me. I'm being asked questions by people that are weeding through. I want to show you something real quick, and just for, not even for anything other than the value of it, for you to understand. Because I know there's a lot of questions you have. Just a couple of days, just 2 days worth of phone records where we need from her phone, where we need to try to find out who those people are, what the communication was from. She's that much. Now, that being said, we have 3-month window here that we're trying to look at, and then really we could go back to the first of the year. So to try to help narrow down days that we need to tie up manpower on looking at who she was communicating with, if you can tell me from May through, and that's all I can ask for, because it's difficult to remember what we had for dinner yesterday. I understand that.
And without a reason to specifically remember, I'm not gonna.
Well, I'm looking for birthdays or whatever, you know, any kind of family function or a trip anywhere, and we'll start there. And maybe by that we can build off and jog off that. And well, I know after this birthday party I had it. Let's go back to this first week then of June, if that's okay. Pool, you had the baby, the daughter, Casey was working that whole week?
She was in and out. I saw her every day. I mean, I can't
Okay.
tell you her schedule. There was some times that we spent together too, but it wasn't like we were gonna, we were thinking about going down to Fort Myers, but we didn't end up going because my dad wasn't doing real well again. So I kind of.
And just to pause real quick, just kind of circle back around to what Nanny said, because I'd like to familiarize myself again with this. It seemed like Casey lived there. She was a very young mom, irresponsible. All of the times that she was probably telling her mom she was working, probably wasn't. Her mom predominantly took Kaylee, but the truth is that Casey could leave every time she got into a fight. She would leave alone. She would leave with Kaylee, she would kind of come in and out as she pleased, so totally understand, with 31 days. But as far as I know, and we'll hear Cindy explain it better, really, was it unusual? What were you trying to do within those 31 days? Because as far as I know, she was trying to, and I feel like Casey did call and check in with her mom, but every time Kaylee couldn't speak for whatever reason, she was at the nanny, she was this. If I'm remembering correctly, please someone correct me if I'm wrong, until Cindy ultimately snapped and literally tried to have her arrested to figure out where Kaylee was.
Yeah, and I can't correct you at all because I don't know it like that. So I'm just kind of learning as we go. But I know that sounds like what I had heard before, just from hearing from people, but I don't know.
Yeah. And okay, Smile More Please says the video we're playing is from August. I don't know where her first interview is, but it's okay. She's still just going to give the rundown of what she knows.
Yeah.
Stayed close to home. By the time I got up, he was doing better. And I spent the day and then came back home.
So you didn't go to the beach that
weekend? I didn't go to the beach that, yep. And I know I didn't go Sunday because George was working, so it had to be
the 7th.
Had to be the 7th.
7th and 8th.
7th and then 8th, I probably visited my dad.
Okay, because that would be in line with Ricardo's account, because Ricardo remembers Casey and Kaylee staying with him that in that same time frame.
Okay, because Ricardo told us that she stayed with him.
No, this as well.
Here and left there.
Right, this.
Well, I was back that night. I'm positive Kaylee was with us.
Positive she was there that night.
Pretty positive she
How
was
about
with
this
us that night. Definitely that night, because that was the night before I went back from vacation. And I remember seeing her, because remember I got confused that was the night. I know I saw her that night.
Okay. All right, the second week then, you have this week off.
Mm-hmm.
Second week you go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the same kind of?
Yeah, normal routine. I mean, I can't remember
we don't know what
specific.
night she was there.
I mean, I don't recall Kaylee being gone over any nights, if any, maybe one. And the only time Casey ever told me, the only place that Kaylee would ever stay over was they were crashing at Zanny's. She never told me she was taking her to Ricardo's, never told me she was taking her anywhere else except Zanny's. And typically,
let me write that down real quick I'm sorry.
Anytime Kaylee ever stayed away from the house, Casey said she was with Zanny.
Okay, so right there, anytime Kaylee was away from the house, their house, Casey told her she was with Zanny. Ricardo is one of Casey's boyfriends during that time period, but so is Paul. Like she was, if you remember the dig yesterday that the detective took, and it was like, who's Paul?
Yeah. He's like, wait, you have a boyfriend now. He
Yeah,
was
like
gone.
which one? And she's like, well, he was gone for the weekend. Oh, okay, you know.
Yeah. I know, Sprinkle Donut, her statement about every picture, she said she took every picture and video ever taken. I'm curious though, Melissa, I wonder how much, like, how often was she gone from the house with Casey home, and where would she have really been?
We have Cindy's deposition, which that's an important one, but I wanted to go to these first ones because I like to see how and if the story changed. When raw impact and raw emotion is right here, this is the closest you get to the truth, in my opinion. Not so much with Casey, but the closest you're going to get. Then we have the deposition, which is much more formal, right? And then we have trial.
Okay.
And then the parents' phone calls, like with Casey, which are huge in my opinion. But I know that questions like that are going to be asked at deposition. I don't recall, because she did so many interviews like this, it's hard to know which ones it contained which, you know. And I know that they definitely asked what was the normal schedule like.
Okay.
But it seemed like Kaylee's mom, Cindy, was trying to pick up the slack that her daughter wasn't being young and immature and just wild, kind of trying to co-parent with her daughter, if that makes sense.
Okay. But okay. That makes sense. I'm just curious. Like, I wonder if it ever comes out, like, where Kaylee was actually at when she was gone and Casey was home. Like, because Zanny didn't.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I don't remember everything. That's why I'm like, that's a good question. And I don't remember where, if, like, I know it is ended up being spoken about. I just don't remember specifically the answers yet.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you. Yeah, no, and I don't expect you. I'm sorry, Melissa, but I don't expect you to.
Oh, I know.
I just was curious, and if you did, and then if not, we'll find out, I suppose. You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have Jamie, and that's why I think it's important to watch the evolution of the story. And maybe I'll change my mind as we go into, when we make our way to trial. Maybe I will feel differently now that the space and age and mindset that I'm at now watching trial, I might feel differently. But from what I could remember, I have sympathy with the parents, because I cannot imagine. I just could not imagine. That's still their baby. And that doesn't mean that they're not prioritizing Kaylee, because I see them prioritizing Kaylee. But then when they're at the point of trial, my heart breaks, because now at that point they're aware Kaylee's gone. But at the same time, that's their child. I just can't imagine it being easy. That's all I'm saying. I can't imagine.
Yeah, me either.
Away from the house, Casey said she was with Zanny.
Okay.
And it wasn't that often that, you know, maybe a night here or there sporadically, but she always said she was crashing at Zanny's. And that.
Now let me ask you this, with that being said, and just your interpretation as I'm going through this thing, is that because she knew mom doesn't want her in some boyfriend's apartment staying overnight?
I don't know. I didn't even know her and Ricardo were an item. I knew that he was a friend. She talked about Ricardo as a good friend. I did not realize that they were boyfriend, girlfriend. But she had spoken of Ricardo. Because
there's one in particular that I want to get to that is a question in my mind. And this kind of feeds into what you're saying then, because it's obvious your daughter, just from talking to her friends so far.
Just real quickly, Marcus, to this day, it is not publicly known who Kaylee's biological father was. Casey said yesterday in the interview that we had started, Kaylee's biological father had died last year, meaning 2007 at the time of the interview. And she has his obituary. As far as I'm understanding, that is not true. we don't know who her biological father is.
Freaking sad. And another way that it parallels Megan Boswell in
Yep.
ways.
Yep.
It had a great deal of loyalty to your desires and when you wanted that child home. And the reason I feel that way is because one of the nights in particular,
Well, I think she should be home in her own bed.
most grandparents and parents do. I agree with you. So Ricardo says that on the 31st of May that they stayed over there when they went to sleep. But when he woke up, Casey was still there, but the baby was gone. And what Casey told him was, you had called upset because the baby wasn't in her home bed. And she got up, brought the baby home, and then went back to Ricardo's because those are one of the things, pink.
Oh,
It's
Melissa,
obvious
will you?
there's a chain of command there, and she's trying.
I was going to pause anyway. You heard what he said?
Uh-huh. And after you comment on it, you should let me hear it again, because that is so interesting.
Here, let me jump back, okay?
Okay.
In particular,
Well, I think she should be home in her own bed.
most grandparents and parents do. I agree with you. So Ricardo says that on the 31st of May that they stayed over there when they went to sleep. But when he woke up, Casey was still there, but the baby was gone. And what Casey told him was, you had called upset because the baby wasn't in her home bed. And she got up, brought the baby home, and then went back to Ricardo's because those are one of the things, pink. It's obvious that there's a chain of command there and she's trying to adhere to it. That's what I'm getting.
Okay. So where the hell did she bring Kaylee in the middle of the night?
On the 31st of May.
May 31st, she stayed at Ricardo's with Kaylee. They went to bed. When they woke up, Casey's there. Kaylee's not there. Where's Kaylee? My mom called in the middle of the night, and she was mad that Kaylee wasn't back home in her own bed, so I dropped her off and brought her there. Cindy saying no. So where the hell was Kaylee?
Oh, my gosh.
I don't remember on the 31st.
Was it an incident like that stand out in your mind that she brought the baby home because?
Not in the morning, no.
No. I'm talking like during the night. No.
No, I never called Casey and told her to bring her home
Never.
in the middle of the
Okay.
night, except for the 15th. When I told her she's bringing her home. And when she said no, we'll wait till tomorrow, I said no.
Because I know the question keeps coming up about the father, the biological father, maybe from being right there at this, and that was something to get to at the end, but is there any conversation that would help us to identify that person so we can answer those questions?
Well, Casey and George and I actually went to an attorney.
Okay.
And had everything put in legal will and all that stuff in case something never happened to Kaylee or Casey. No, biological father was never documented because it's never on the birth certificate.
Who is that then?
I believe his first name's Eric, and if I heard his last name, I would know it, but I can't remember. It really didn't. It really didn't stand out because from what Casey.
And that's what I was gonna say. So my theory, at least what my theory was going in before doing this deep dive, because again, we're doing everything. We're going into trial. We're watching everything. So I may come out of this feeling differently. But I do not believe she intentionally killed Kaylee. I believe that she was microdosing Kaylee with, what's it called?
Xanax?
No.
Chloroform?
Yes. Yeah. Chloroform was found in the trunk. And very well may have been other medications. And kept her while she partied, and she didn't want her to wake up and she gave her too much. And this is what the judge said for her trial too. This is what he believes happened too. And she gave her too much this time, and she passed, and then she did what she did after. And so it makes times like that makes me think, did she wake up? Did she annoy Kaylee? And did she knock her out and then get her in a couple of hours? God only knows. God only knows.
My God. I didn't know the judge said that. That was his opinion too. Wow.
Oh, the judge says, yeah, we'll watch after trial. Like once we get all the way through trial, we'll watch the judge and the jurors who've spoken out. And the judge even spoke out recently since Kaylee has come back on social media. But he says that he believes that she was dosing her, like with, I don't know if he said a specific drug, like which specific, I don't know if he said chloroform, but then she administered too much and she passed.
Oh my God.
He told me he had come into town. They were old friends from school. They got together. Eric was going through a tough time. Casey was in between friends, and they just had a one-night stand.
So they're old friends from school?
Yeah.
Like high school?
I'm not sure how far back it goes.
So Eric wasn't just someone she met. Eric is someone that she went to school with.
Someone that she had known.
This is according to Casey.
This is what she had told me way back when. I mean, this was, when I found out that Jesse wasn't the father, because then I asked,
You ever meet
else
Eric?
could, no,
Who was you never met Eric? Never had dinner with him and talked
Never.
over?
no.
Giving up parental rights? He never came by to visit
No.
one night and went to the
He
airport?
lived out of state, from what
Right.
she said, either Tennessee, Kentucky.
So you're saying you
one
never
of
met
them.
him?
Never met him.
You guys never had dinner with him?
Never. The thing was, by the time Casey realized when she was pregnant that it wasn't Jesse's, because she thought it was Jesse's, then she knew it had to be one other person. So that had to be, this person, Eric. I think his name was Eric.
So what legal paperwork did the attorney draft?
What he drew up was, in case something happened to Casey, then custody would be given directly to myself and to George.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with
It
custody
had
from
nothing to
Eric.
do with that, but we also talked about all that, though. He asked us, is the father involved? Do you want to drop anything for alimony, anything like that? We said, no, absolutely not, because he's not on the birth certificate. The guy has no claim to Kate. He never.
So he wouldn't
He
have
never saw-
any names that you mentioned at the time that you might not remember the last name now.
We may have given it to attorney. He may have it. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at that stuff.
That would be wonderful.
I'll
if we could-
pull that
if we
up
could get
and
that.
see what I have. I have an envelope at the house that has all the paperwork. we
So-
got from the attorney.
Excellent.
Casey was going to, or did, do paperwork with an attorney so that her parents could have custody of Kaylee if something ever happened to her, even though this was this nightmarish home that she grew up in.
That's
And, where she was treated so terribly.
Abused, like horrifically abused by all of the men, and same for her daughter. That's what she claims.
Wow. Oh, okay, Harley Quinn. I'll have to look for that, where they take a lie detector test. Have you watched that?
No.
And then I have another question. Apparently it's on Hulu, or on Roku, or Tess said it's also on Hulu, but on Roku. My other question is, so just thinking about all this while we're watching, and Casey's like emerging back onto social media, do you think that in her head she's thinking that either a lot of people maybe didn't watch the trial and don't know the facts? Do you think that maybe she's hoping they forgot? I mean, or just she can't hide anymore and she wants, or maybe she's desperate for money. But I'm curious because a lot of people watch this. They know what went down. Now, a lot of time has passed, so people may have forgotten, like with you, but they still know. So I don't know.
I think it's a mixture. Again, she got away, but then she lived a fairly normal life. I mean, dating married men and shit like that, whatever. But when you watch this Peacock documentary, you're going to be like, oh my God, like there is a team of lawyers around her who are treating her like she is the biggest victim, and that she is finally sharing her story. I think that contributes to the cockiness someone will have with their lie. It's like that duper's delight type of thing. So I think when the Peacock documentary dropped last year, or series, whatever, surprisingly, because I covered it, there were half the people who believed it. And I'm not judging for anyone who believes it, but like believed the father could have done this.
Wow.
And so I think she gauged that feedback, but she still didn't make her move. I think she saw Gypsy Rose, and I think she saw how she was openly able to have that part and yet thrive and make the money that she was making. And I think that now that it's a different time, we live in a different time, we have the technology, we have social media. I think she came out and she's like, let me do it on Substack, like, let me do it on this platform and see what happens. But I think it all comes around to when she cannot get charged again, like double jeopardy. She's good in that aspect. So what does she have to lose?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so by the way, she had recently posted on Substack that their terms of service and said, this is why I chose this platform. You guys should be aware of the terms of service on every platform.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. See, I'm not familiar at all, actually, with Substack. I never even heard of it before this.
Yeah, me either. I'm learning. I've been like kind of looking at it and like with other people and stuff like that too, just looking around and exploring. But yeah, same.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Solo Angel, that reminds me, look at OJ. He came out with If I Did It, okay? And did the whole scenario where he just named this hypothetical person when it was really him in those scenarios. When you get away with something, you can't help but to flaunt it and be the same way Chris Watts on that porch interview, right? With that smile that haunted all of us. You just can't help but he was told by Shanann's own parents, don't do an interview. And they said, thank God he did, though. No, you made that choice. Why? Because you just can't help but to push it in people's faces. I don't know why. I don't know why they do it, but they do.
Wow. I wonder if it's like a ego. It's something with like, remember what you were talking about earlier? What's the word for it? Like that narcissists do, like a ego. Oh gosh, there was a different word you used earlier. Like is it that this like, oh my gosh, why is it? Play, I'm sure, but
I don't remember what I said, but yeah, like I think it boosts their ego, and I think she believes that lie now. I think because she's gotten away with it for so long, and because she was surrounded by a bunch of people, pretty reputable, credible people, pushing this narrative. Again, when you see them sitting around it was the most bizarre shit I've ever seen, sitting around a big ass dinner table, sharing soup, talking about like, this is Casey's time to share. She's the victim in this. And let me share with you my story. And then it was like, hi guys, and it was like, oh my God, it no longer, if the very wise person once said, if you tell a lie enough times, it will become the truth to a sense. And that's what I think happened with Casey.
The word you used, by the way, it was grandiose, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How sick to like believe your own lies, even when they're like this, these are.
It's disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
For that.
So if she, heavens forbid, but a lot of kids do it, drop the ball miserably and wasn't the good mother that some teenagers can, you had paperwork drawn up.
That wasn't the reason why we did it. We did it in case something happened to her. Plus also, it was also a statement that there was no other legal person that bound themselves to Kaylee.
Parallel safety net.
Right.
Yep.
And by the time Kaylee was born, this Eric person had already been married, from what Casey told me. And Casey states that she has kept in contact with Eric's widow.
She has been wanting to cooperate with authorities. She just doesn't trust the local authorities. Bottom line is, I have nothing to hide.
Oh my God.
First part, yeah.
She just doesn't trust the local authorities.
Ugh. I think it was Jamie who said it. I saw in the chat who said it. But after Cindy realized that Kaylee was no longer here, she started to cover for Casey, and I won't necessarily disagree with that. That's what I do remember. But and I'm not looking at it at all from Casey, but I'm looking at it from Cindy and George's perspective, and I don't know, I just hold space for I can't imagine. And I don't think it would be super easy to say, hey, would you just completely abandon your child? Like, that doesn't mean you're okay with what they did. You could fucking hate them for what they did, disgusted by what they did, but still you'll be there for them. And part of me can't judge them for that. And I know that might be bad.
No, it's natural. I can see that too. But do you want to pause here since we're like at 2 hours and then let's start back? But I want to show you a couple little things, like article things first.
Look at her. She looks great. She looks great.
Beautiful girl.
Yeah.
So this is more about that high school party. Hold on, let's see. But yeah, so then next time, just whenever, you guys, it's not going to be tomorrow. Melissa and I both are covering other things, so it'll be
maybe this weekend at some point.
Whenever you're ready, let me know because we'll make it work.
I would love to. Maybe Saturday or Sunday night.
Yeah, that'll work for me. Awesome. And then we'll get back into what we were just watching and making our ways to those calls.
I'm so excited for those calls, guys. Like, I really am. Like, they are the body language, everything, the dynamics between parent and child, them pleading, where's Kaylee? You know, like, and it's a lot. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, me too. I just can't wait to see, like, it's going to be really hard not to cheat and look ahead, but I'm not going to.
I know.
I just want to see their how they talk to each other, how they treat each other, their body language, her body language, Georgia's body language, you know? Yeah,
it's a lot.
Okay, so this is just like, it appears to be like a blog. It's called forgettthelies.com. So it says, while Casey was in high school, the people in her life began to notice a change. She started going to parties, going to clubs, experimented a little with drugs, and began drinking. She also started lying. Nothing too big, just little petty ones here and there. But surely her lies began to escalate. Perhaps the biggest lie at the time involved her graduation. That's where I'll start. Remember, it's just somebody's, blog. So, but it seems to line up with what we're seeing in other articles and in the chat. So, plus it had pictures. That's why I pulled this one. So she attended Colonial High School and she was set to walk across the stage with her friends and family in attendance, receive her diploma, and put her high school life behind her. Invitations had been sent out. She had already began receiving graduation gifts. Her mother, Cindy, was so proud of her daughter that she was preparing a huge graduation party for her. But Casey had a secret. In the days leading up to graduation, her mother started asking her questions. Casey, where's your cap? Casey, where's your gown? What's going on? What are you not telling me? At first, Casey just blew off her mother. Let's see, as graduation grew closer, Casey could not keep her secret much longer, and she was right. The day before she was supposed to get her diploma and graduate, Cindy got a phone call from the school saying Casey could not be part of the graduation ceremony. After that call, Casey confessed to her mother she didn't have enough credits. So I don't know if they actually went to the party, but maybe they'll testify to that. But look at these pictures in here. It looks like this is like from the yearbook, maybe. And
yeah,
that was one of the main reasons I wanted to grab that. Seems like this graduation story has varied a little bit, whether it was they showed up to the graduation party. Here it says Casey's grandparents attended. So at first, Cindy was irate. Casey gave multiple excuses, blaming the school, when in fact it was because Casey wasn't going to class. After Cindy calmed down, she told her daughter not to say a word to anyone, not her dad, not her brother, not her grandparents, not to anyone. So now Casey and Cindy have a secret, and they both went along with it all the way to the graduation ceremony. Her grandparents attended the graduation. They started to become confused when they noticed Casey was not in a cap and gown like the others. Mm-hmm. Cindy explained the school had messed up, but don't worry.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. They did not call any family members to let them know she didn't graduate, didn't return any graduation gifts, and they did not cancel her graduation party. It says, yes, that's right. They still had the party and never let on that Casey did not get her diploma. And said that she never finished. She dropped out. Here, this looks like another senior picture. She kind
I
of does
hope
look
she got her
stoned.
GED if she's a legal fucking advocate now.
I wonder if she did, maybe in jail, but she does look kind of stoned there, Melissa. Look at her eyes. Like
a little bit. That CBD shit, man.
the CBD shit. Oh wow, look at this picture. Denial.
Oh, look at that hair.
This is about her denying the pregnancy. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, Wade. It looks like Wade Wilson's bowl cut in jail.
During the summer of 2005, Casey's friends and family started to notice a change. Someone walked up to her mom at a wedding and said, "I didn't know Casey was pregnant. Why didn't you tell me?" And Cindy's response was, "Oh, she's not pregnant. She's just retaining water. She's gained a little weight." She even goes
a little weight. Does
she
this
had
look like a little weight to you?
Look, here's a picture of her tummy at the time. You can't hardly tell because it's very blurry. But I can tell looking at, can you tell like through the live? Because it might.
My natural belly is much bigger than that. So like,
but I mean,
nothing to me. Like,
yeah, but think about how skinny she is, and then you just have a little pot belly. You know what I mean? Like if
she's just retaining water. Oh my God, sorry. But I say all the time, dude, don't let someone get away with lies. Like it starts with little lies. I say it with Tisha all the time. Like you have to hold someone accountable. If you love them, hold them accountable.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I wonder if this will come up at trial, but apparently her brother said that he had suspicions about her being pregnant, that at one point she came out of the bathroom, her stomach was showing, and she was showing. He said he questioned Casey and their mother, and they both denied she was pregnant. Lee didn't learn the truth until days before his niece was born.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That is
Kaylee
crazy.
was named after her and her brother. You know, the brother that she accused of sexually abusing her entire life. Casey and Lee. Kaylee.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because that makes perfect sense.
Perfect sense.
And then look, here she is when she was born. There's Kaylee in the hospital, or Casey with her in the hospital.
Those sunglasses. She was an exceptionally adorable little girl.
Yeah, she was absolutely gorgeous. It looks like that's the end of this page, but yeah.
Look at that little chef's hat. Like it looks like a chef's hat. I know it's not, but
yeah, it does.
And the top right one. Yeah. Oh my goodness. She was so adorable.
The cheeks, I love baby. You know, I love the little squishy baby cheeks. Look at them there. Like,
no. Oh my goodness.
And then the last thing I wanted to point out was this. So Tess had sent this regarding like Casey and where she, remember how it was brought up, she did live in an apartment at some time.
Mm-hmm.
And so this talks about her, talks about that. So hold on, let me see. Down here just a little bit. 4 witnesses said Anthony's demeanor never suggested anything wrong. No. Another roommate, Nathan, said Anthony liked going out and having a good time. She was not an introvert by any means. She went to the hard body contest during a nightclub promotion. He described riding in her car, never noticed any smell. Hold on, let's see. I swear at some point it talks about the apartment. Hold on, is it right here? No. Did I click a page forward or something? Hold on. Well, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead. Because I need
no,
to
I was just going to say to you guys, you know, like during the 31 days that Kaylee was missing, Casey was seen out partying, wet t-shirt contests, and she got a tattoo. What's that tattoo? What was it? What was on it?
Bella Vita or something, was it?
Yes, which means beautiful life, right?
Yeah. Yep. Okay, here it is. It was that article. I'm crazy. I was overlooking it because I'm looking at it on another page, but let me just go here. So this witness said they remembered, this is the witness that she asked for a shovel from. Oh my gosh. Ugh, hold on. So he said he also remembered the white car backed up. We'll talk like the shovel thing is very interesting, but I want to hear it from him during the trial. But he says about a month before that, Casey met Tony Lazaro during a party. They soon became romantically involved, and she moved into an apartment he was sharing with 4 people. Her ex-roommates testified they met Anthony's daughter several times, and then at some point in early June, they never saw her again.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the apartment situation. That's
Well,
all.
when they asked about Kaylee, hold on, go down. When they asked about Kaylee, her mother told them she was with her nanny at a theme park or going to the beach. Her demeanor never suggested anything was wrong. She would cook, clean, help out around the apartment. She was a regular 22-year-old girl. Peppy. She seemed normal. Okay.
Yep. And then the part I read about her not being an introvert. I don't know why I could not focus on the part I was looking for, and I had the article right. My brain is just, it's getting late, and I think it's not working very good anymore. But anyways, it's all so interesting. There's so much information.
I'm so excited to do this. It's like you said, it's hard not to jump ahead because now I'm like hooked and I'm invested, ready to like go down this rabbit hole. But I'm also very interested because we see Wade Wilson, Letitia Stout, everyone wants Jose Baez, right? And so to kind of observe not just the evidence presented against Casey, but how Jose handled this defense. And I just remember icky parts, very, very icky parts. And it was nasty, like, I don't know. I think that's also why I just have like space that I sympathize with her parents.
Yeah.
You could feel both. You could feel, 2 emotions at the same time. Part of me is angry. The other part, I can sympathize. I don't know. Just as a parent, I can't judge another parent too much, for going, like never abandoning their child. And I think her parents took some hits in hopes that they had accepted at that point. Kaylee was no longer here, but they wanted a chance of not losing their child too at that point. But they did fight for Kaylee. They were out there every day with the shirts on the new, like they fought. They did. But at that point, it seems like they had accepted and they were willing to get thrown under the bus for the chance that their daughter could walk free, which isn't necessarily right, but to think about where they're at now and how, oh no, that's what I'm saying. I feel like Casey believes the lie at this point.
I just can never imagine doing that to my parents. Like, and I get she was young, but still, I did a lot of dumb shit at 22. I made really dumb decisions. I was in active addiction, and I was so fucking selfish. But I could never imagine, even at that time, at the worst in my life, like blaming them for anything even half that bad. Like it
was bad, Allie. Just wait till you see George up on that stand and what Jose puts forward.
Oh God, that makes me so sad. Oh.
Mm-hmm. And as far as I know, he passed a lie detector just last year, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he had anything to do with it.
I want to watch that. I don't so far, just from what I've heard, but also what we've watched so far with how she's acted. She's the one who looks just completely guilty. Oh my gosh. So we need to watch before this weekend. We need to watch the Paramount series, and then I'll try to find the lie detector videos too. And if I do, I'll let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. So let me ask you, Melissa, if your child did something, let's take it because it's so hard to even fathom that they would do it to your grandchild. So let's take that out of the equation. But let's say they killed someone else, another kid, whatever, like, or their girlfriend, Brian Laundrie. What would you do? Would you help them cover it up? Would you, and it's hard to say, right, what you would do, but do you think you would help them at any cost? I know people that say they would bury someone for their child. Would you encourage them to turn themselves in? How do you imagine you would handle that?
I think it's and especially covering cases as a creator, I think I've learned it is so much easier to sit here on the outside and tell everyone what we would do when we really don't fucking know what we would do. I'd like to believe, and I commend Wade's dad, biological dad, because I think he did the best thing that he could have done. And what he did was he gave his son up, but Wade was definitely still a threat. But he stuck there and supported him, but held him accountable. And I'd like to think, I cannot tell you what I would do depending on what the situation is, but what I do know is that ain't not a damn fucking thing that would get me to leave my child's side. Whether or not I held them accountable, I can't fucking tell you. You know, like, I'd like to think I would, but God only knows. But there ain't nothing my child can do that I would ever abandon them, as horrible as it is. Ain't nothing.
See, same here, and I agree with you. We just don't know, and let's hope and pray that none of us are ever in a situation even close to that. But if I was, I would like to think that I would try to encourage them to hold themselves accountable and do the right thing, because even as a parent, like, our job is to teach them, like, right versus wrong, and help create, like, the person they're going to become one day by the values we instill in them. And I think that, you know, by just lying, covering up, sneaking, you never learn anything. It doesn't work out well. You're not really teaching them to do the right thing. So I would like to think I would try to be supportive, but also encourage, like, be there for them, help them, but also encourage them to do the right thing.
That's what I'm saying. You could be there and support them and hold them accountable. That's why I commend, you know, Steve, because that's what he did. And I don't know how anyone could really pick that apart, because you know, but yeah, it's much easier to sit here and been like, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Yeah, I'm sure looking back, hindsight, everyone feels that way, you know, like, but I couldn't imagine.
I couldn't either. Okay, now Kelly brings up a good question, and it's good because I wanted to bring up Jose Baez anyway, and just, like, ask you, didn't Wade and them talk about getting him as well? Because we know Tisha did, but I swear I thought that came up in Wade's case at some point, or like with the people supporting him. Maybe I'm wrong. Did it?
Ask that again. What came up in Wade's case?
Jose.
Vivian led Wade to believe she had already acquired Jose, and then Jesse tried to obtain Jose, but he's not an appellate attorney. So then they were trying to go with someone in his office, but that is high money. So yeah, and then we got Tisha. Only a guilty person goes for Jose Baez.
Right. That's so interesting. And then, okay, so Kelly says, do you think Baez and Casey discussed their plan to accuse George beforehand? And Jamie says they knew he was going to say it. So I do believe that. I'm curious what you think. I think that, of course, they discussed it beforehand. It's an alternate theory. Or an alternate suspect theory, which is a defense. You'll see, like, in Delphi, that wasn't allowed. But we saw with both Leilani and Megan, they tried to push guilt or make Danny and Hunter look guilty. So I do believe that she absolutely knew. I don't know if they knew. What do you think, Melissa? Or what do you know about that?
And again, I'm just going off of my memory, which, God, it was a long time ago I watched the trial. I believe her dad, from my memory, knew that door was going to be open. And that's what I meant earlier when I said I believe that her parents laid there and took the punches in the hopes that it could get their daughter off.
Oh my God. And it
But
did.
I think it went. I don't think they agreed to their son being dragged into it and accused.
Wow. Okay, here is that documentary, Nanya, that Natasha named for you, Where the Truth Lies.
Mm-hmm. Peacock. 3-part series. Well, 3-part episode.
Yeah, and we're going to watch it, Melissa and
before the next episode.
Yeah. So, Okay, well, I guess we're done. Thank you. I'm glad we chatted for a minute after to try it, because it's like last night I just was so amped up and I wanted to, like, I don't know. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you for brainstorming with me and tossing like ideas back and forth. Yeah, I'm glad we're doing this. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'll jump off and let you say your goodbyes, but good night, everybody.
Okay, well, good night, Melissa. Well, you guys, I'm going to go anyways. I hope you guys have a great night. I will definitely see you in between now and this weekend when we do this to talk about some other things. Thank you for being here. Yeah, thank you for sharing your thoughts and your opinions. And I always joke over here that I will say goodbye for like 20 or 30 minutes. I definitely will. I'm going to try. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to hit end as much as I want to just sit here and babble nonsense. I don't even have anything to say. So I'm just going to hit end. But yeah, have a good night and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Go check out part 1 on Melissa's channel if you haven't yet. I will share. There's a playlist on each channel, by the way, and I'll share it on the community tab as well. Okay. Good night. Bye.